What's going on, guys? This is Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ back in for another great episode. And today's episode is a very special episode. I'm breaking down an entire fantasy league's teams, projections. Are they going to make playoffs? My favorites, my worst. Some guys are just sitting in the middle, but I feel like I can break these teams down to basically getting to the point of who's making playoffs, whose team is good, who's contenders, and who's bad. That's all it really comes down to. Who is going to be good and who's going to be bad. Shout out to Kenneth. He came in the DM. He basically gave me the idea where I can break down fantasy leagues and put out some great content. So I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get right into the episode. Now, getting into this fantasy league breakdown, I got to have my three favorites and, three teams that I didn't feel like were really contenders. Some guys that I feel like are going to struggle, but they have a good supporting cast as their bench as backups. But again, I can't really break down every single team, every single player. We'll be here all night. So I just want to get to the nitty gritty of my I'm sorry. So I want to get right into the nitty-gritty. I want to get to the three teams that I believe. So I want to get right to the nitty-gritty. Who's good? Who's bad? Got a 10-man team. I don't really think I can break down every single team, every single player, or why. I think we'll be here all night. So I pick my top three teams that I feel like are contenders, that are really good, that are really, close to heart. I wish I was in this league, you know what I mean, that I can own some of these players that some of these people got. But I feel like in a 10-man league, it's kind of hard to fuck up the draft, you know what I mean? But it's always that one guy. It's always one in your league that ends up blowing the draft. So we're going to dig into that right now. So right now I want to start with Captain Chark. Now, he hit all the points. So he has Matt Ryan as his QB, Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara. Pause on that, even though he may be holding out or he may be getting traded, but I still like the combo. Saquon and Alvin Kamara, I don't even understand how you ended up doing that, but it's a 10-man league. But anyway, Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley, two powerhouse PPR guys. Hopefully this is a PPR league. Jesus Christ, you cannot unmatch that combo. The only thing missing out of that combo would be, Saquon Barkley and CMC. That's basically what we're looking at right now. We know Kamara's going to give us 81 receptions. He is good for that the last 3 years in a row. I think he's doing it on purpose. Even if he gets traded, I really think he's going to put up 81 receptions again. So it doesn't matter where this guy go. So I feel like this is all hoopla. I honestly think Kamara's going to return back to camp. There's going to be no drama. I really feel like there's no worries there. So Captain Chark, you shouldn't be worried at all. Kamara's going to return back to the team, and he's going to be a full send come week one. But definitely, I would recommend, I'm looking at your bench right now, I would recommend try to make a play for Latavius Murray just in case, because I feel like Latavius Murray is the best handcuff out there, and I don't consider Kareem Hunt as a handcuff, so don't even say that. Don't even think that Kareem Hunt is a standalone running back. But the best handcuff out there definitely would be Latavius Murray. He's proven himself. Those 3 weeks where Alvin Kamara went down, he put up like 30 points back-to-back weeks, and then I think it was like 26 or 27 points or whatever the case may be. He was definitely productive. So Latavius Murray is no slouch. He fits in that system. You know what I mean? So honestly, you hit ballpark with Kamara and Saquon. Now you got Terry McLaurin, Michael Gallup. These two wide receiver ones, basically for their teams respectively. And yes, I said wide receiver ones. Gallup is a wide receiver one for the Cowboys. He was a wide receiver one for the Cowboys last year. He did way better than Amari Cooper, but we're not going to dig into that. That is just public information. You sure already know. That's why you probably drafted Gallup. You know what I mean? But anyway, moving on. Now, Gallup is the stud that I think in Dallas that needs to be owned, even with CD Lamb there. People were saying CD Lamb was drafted and it kind of knocked off, Michael Gallup's hype. Hell no, it didn't. You know what I mean? Michael Gallup just needs to work on not dropping the ball. If he could work on that, he could be more productive. He can catch more touchdowns. He's looking at the wide receiver one for the Cowboys. You know what I mean? That may be a little stretch or whatever, but that's just how I feel, and that's what I saw last year. The numbers do not lie, people. Amari Cooper is a turd. Anyway, moving on. Now you got Chris Godwin just sitting in your flex casually. Again, I don't understand 10-man leagues. They're like hard to mess up, but you just nailed it out of the park. You know what I mean? Now you got Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, Terry McLaurin, Gallup, and Chris Godwin. That is a stud trio right there with wide receivers, and I think they're going to be hitting it out of the park. You know what I mean? I think, McLaurin's more dependent on Haskins doing good, but we just got camp reports that Haskins is doing pretty well in camp. So I think there's no worries there at all. Now, your tight end, Hayden Hurst, is a clear plug and play with the exit of Austin Hooper going to Cleveland. So I really don't think there's any problems there. You're going to basically get, Austin Hooper 2.0. He may be even a little bit better. Who knows? We'll see how that goes. But I do like that you ended up getting him as your tight end 1. Now, Zerline, can't go wrong with Greg Legg, former Rams. But, it is what it is. He had to move on. He was getting too expensive. He's been a Ram forever. So he is good for Dallas. Now, let's go to your bench real quick. I want to touch on your bench really, really quick. Kareem Hunt on your bench, along with that nasty combo with Saquon and Kamara. Well done. Ballpark. Then you got TJ Hawkinson. You may know something that I know that a lot of people don't know. I think Hawkinson's going to have a comeback season. He might end up being your tight end 1, or you might even throw him in the flex. I don't know. He might have some weeks where you're going to be forced to start him. So he's definitely going to have a comeback season with Stafford coming back healthy. That is definitely something that I was looking forward to. Now that Stafford's healthy, he's doing good in camp. Hawkinson, flashing through camp, getting, these beat writers all hyped up about him. And I definitely think for fantasy, it's going to translate, come week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, whatever, and et cetera, as long as Matthew Stafford stays healthy. Because that's exactly what happened. Stafford ended up getting banged up, getting hurt, and then Hawkinson just fell off the face of the planet. And, it sucks when that happens, but you got to move on. Now, Monty, he just recently had a groin injury. Apparently, it's not too serious, but what scares the shit out of me right now is Leonard Fournette. He's buzzing around. I could see the Bears actually making a play for him, and then that puts Monty out of commission. But maybe, the Bears are telling the truth. Maybe it's not that serious. Maybe Monty will be back, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever the case may be, and it'll be a full send. And Tariq Cohen, he's the pest. He knows his role. He's going to be annoying. He's going to be the pest, whoever, the other running back there, behind him or in front of him, or whatever the case may be. So Monty, he's sitting in limbo right now. I really wish he was healthy for week 1, but he's not. But again, you're out of the park with the running back, so no worries there. Chark, my boy, definitely. Devontae Parker, Antonio Gibson, definitely studs that are must roster. So you hit this out of the park, my friend. Devontae Parker is going to be coming in clutch. May even swap him out for Terry McLaurin, if Haskins is not, performing well, if he's not hitting it out of the park. But we shall see. Antonio Gibson, he has the hype right now. But, again, what scares the shit out of me right now is this Leonard Fournette bullshit. Even the Kamara shit. You might get shot twice in the foot if Kamara goes to if he goes to Washington. So I feel like, Gibson, his hype is still there, but it's floating kind of right now. Unless, they don't sign, Fournette or trade for Kamara. But, you never know. You never know with these people. Moving on to my next favorite team. Now, Cameron, 3-peat or bust. My dude, you got some of the guys that I got on my squad. You got some of the guys that I feel like are going to explode this season. Now, let's start off Matthew Stafford, top 10 quarterback without a doubt. Comeback player of the year. I got him, Matthew Ryan, and I got Ben Roethlisberger as comeback players, top 10, QBs that you can get in these later rounds. But being that's his 10-man, I don't really know where he ended up with that ADP, but still, you hit it out of the park there with a comeback player where he's going to give you about, 15 to 20 points. I'm looking at your projections this league. The scoring seems a little funky, but I think he's going to give you that projection, 15.4 and then 20 and above, whatever. Now your running backs who also hit it out of the park. Joe Mixon paid. The boy is happy. 1,000-yard rusher. He's going to get more targets out of that backfield, being that Burrow and him are going to have that connection, PPR. Hopefully this is what this league is. And I feel like the Bengals are going to be a whole new, young, flashy offense. And I feel like Joe Mixon's going to fucking basically kill it this year for that. Austin Eckler, he's an RB1. He's going to be top 5 this year. And I want that recorded. I want that known. I want that, preached. I want that echoed. Austin Eckler will be top 5 this year. If not, top 3. I'm gonna take it there. He's going to do some damage this year. Now, Devontae Adams, always a stud. I just hope he can stay healthy. That turd toe took him out of commission last season. They kind of kept him away from being like top 10, being that he fell outside of the top 10, dealing with injury, but he still was productive. He's still going to, get the touchdowns. He's still going to get the looks. He's the number 1 target there. Him and Aaron Rodgers had the chemistry out of the park. Robert Woods. I'm a Rams fan. I'm not being biased, but goddamn, is he consistent? He's the go-to guy. You know what I mean? If you need 7 catches a game, he's going to give you 7 catches a game, about 12, 13 targets a game as well. He might not bring in all the touchdowns. That's Kupp. That's where Cooper Kupp comes in. But he's going to give you, if this is PPR again, I don't know. I forgot to ask. But anyway, Robert Woods is probably like one of the most underdog consistent PPR wide receivers out there. It's a solid wide receiver too. Behind Devontae Adams, I'll take it 9 days out of the week. Yeah, I said 9 days, but I'll take it 7 days out of the week. But Kittle, again, stud. What worries me about Kittle, actually, yeah, I made note of this. What worries me about Kittle is the tightness in his hamstrings. I hate hamstring injuries with stud players because that shit lingers. So there's going to be some weeks where you're going to see Kittle not exactly sit out, but his snap percentage will go lower. But it's not going to be like significantly lower. It's not going to go under 70%. I just think it's going to, take him off the field. And that we want our stud guys to be on the field, all the time. So that's like slightly what worries me about Kittle with this hamstring thing, the tightness. Landry, man, oh my God, can you talk about consistent? He's just like Robert Woods, man. He's going to get you freaking, I'll say he give you 10 catches a game for 44 yards. If this is PPR, you're looking great. You know what I mean? 10 catches for 44 yards. That's basically what Jarvis gives you. And he's going to give you catches. Again, he doesn't come with the touchdowns, but apparently that's what Odell Beckham is for. But moving on, I like Landry there as your flex. Solid wide receiver 3. You can't go wrong there. Ravens defense, I really don't touch on Ravens defense. I mean, I don't really touch on defenses and kickers. They are what they are. They're week to week. You can stream them. That's what I do. I really don't take consideration of going for the top defenses and top kickers because you can stream them every week. Maybe the Jets kicker is going to have a big week this week, or, next week it's the Dolphins. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't really pay attention much into that. Now, your bench, I was really impressed with your bench. That's why you made it up to here, to the second favorite team. This is why you made it here. Tariq Cohen, Brandon Cooks, Zach Moss, J.K. Dobbins, Hunter Henry, and Marvin Jones. Starvin Marvin is a stud, underrated as hell. He's going to have 1,000 yards this year as a wide receiver 2 next to Kenny Golladay. And again, you got Matty Stafford coming back healthy, and he did that without Matthew Stafford. So just imagine this season. Now, another player noted, Zach Moss. Pretty sneaky. He's going to come in. He's going to be the pest. He's going to become the pest for, Singletary, and I feel like it's a good pest because you got Zach Moss very cheap. You know what I mean? He's going to come in. He's going to get the touches. He's a downhill runner. He wants the content. It's going to be hard to keep him off the field. You know what I mean? Singletary brings some PPR value, but again, it's going to be hard to keep Zach Moss off the field because he can also, catch. He's been very impressive through camp. The reports coming out from these beat writers, from the coaches, et cetera, et cetera. Zach Moss is a thing. You know what I mean? And I'm glad you got him on your bench. You got Tariq Cohen as well. Again, he's the pest. He knows his role. But he brings the PPR value. He give you like 60, 65 catches, which, is doable in PPR leagues. And he's basically your, running back 3, running back 4. So it's not like you have to start him every single week. So when one of your guys go on bye week, Tariq Cohen comes in as a clear plug-and-play. Hunter Henry was very interesting, actually, when let me say this. Tyrod Taylor or Herbert, they're going to have to look for Henry. He just got paid. You know what I mean? He got paid, so he's going to be open. You got to hit your target. You got to hit the good players. And my fear with Hunter Henry is his health, obviously. But when Hunter Henry is healthy, he's a very good football player. So I like that he's on your bench. I like that he's not your number 1. But you got Kittle, so you'll probably never, ever have to sit Kittle. But right now with Kittle with the hamstring, Hunter Henry might have to jump in for a week or 2 just to see what happens. You know what I mean? But he's definitely going to be very productive as long as he stays healthy. Now, Brandon Cooks, he's my sleeper. I feel like every team he's been on, he has 1,000 yards. You know what I mean? So I feel like you know what you're getting with Brandon Cooks. His value isn't too expensive, so he's there. You know what I mean? Now, I want to jump back to J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins was reported today that Harvard, I can't even say his name, but anyway, said that he's going to have a significant role. It's going to be a role where he's going to be on the field. It's not he's going to be the backup behind Ingram because Ingram's getting old. So it's kind of like you have to pass the torch. So J.K. Dobbins will be on the field, and he's not going to be an afterthought. He's not going to be some rookie that's learning behind the vet. Mark Ingram isn't a full send for 100% workload. So come on now. J.K. Dobbins on your bench, full send. Good job. Now, Trey. Trey, there's only one problem. Only one problem with your team. This is why you're my third favorite, though. Only one problem on your team. I don't like James Conner as your running back, too. Now, if I look at your bench, you're sitting like this. You went short term, but hear me out. Now, Kieran Johnson and Marlon Mack are on your bench right now. So we know Kieran Johnson has Swift behind him. We know Marlon Mack has JT behind him. Reason why I'm not too upset with your team, reason why I do like your team, though, because you're very balanced. You're prepared for the worst. Let's put it like that. Now, Kieran Johnson, when he's healthy, he's a good football player. He's good at his role. He's good at his job. But we know Kieran's going to get hurt, and that's where Swift will come in and just basically take the job and run it. But short term, we know it's not going to be a full switch. You know what I mean? It's not going to be a full send where Swift is the starting guy. You know what I mean? Kieran Johnson is a very good running back. I was very high on him last year. He let me down again because he got hurt, but it is what it is. Injuries happen, people. But for those first couple of weeks, Kieran Johnson was looking promising. He was getting into groove. But again, Lions dealt with a lot of injuries for Stafford with him, and then, everybody just fell off the face of the earth after that. But Marlon Mack is the guy. They're not going to just shove him away saying Marlon Mack is no longer the guy, even though he's on a contract year. JT is definitely in the future, but JT will come at the back end of that, season. But Marlon Mack has put up 1,000 yards back-to-back seasons, but he just hasn't been healthy, you know what I mean? And it's like he had an impressive, 10 touchdowns, he brings in a little bit of PPR value with catches in here and there. But again, we know he's going to get hurt. So there's that. Now, Cooper Kupp on your bench. Oh, boy, let's jump into your starters. You got Amari Cooper. I don't like Amari Cooper, but he's still, going to be on the Dallas Cowboys. All three of them wide receivers are probably going to have 1,000 yards. Now, let's jump to Tyler Lockett. He is the true number one for the Seahawks, and I love that you grabbed Tyler Lockett. Not a lot of people like Tyler Lockett. My dream team right now will probably be, if I can get these three guys as my wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3, it would be Robert Woods, Tyler Lockett, and Jarvis Landry for PPR value, obviously. So these guys are just going to be target hogs. That's what you want. That's what you want to do to bring home the gold. So Pat Mahomes, obviously, full send. I don't really need to get into him. Obviously, he's going to be your diamond in a dozen. Now, Derrick Henry, I love that. I love that you got Derrick Henry. People were sleeping on Derrick Henry, and then he turned up on the asses and killed it in the playoffs. That's exactly what's going to happen for you. Now, out of you three guys, though, I feel like all you guys have, contender. You guys have playoff hopes. You guys have all these things that are setting you up in the right direction to have these backups, to have these type of, worst-case scenarios with Marlon Mack and Kieran Johnson on Trey's bench. Oh, excuse me. But the rest of your team is pretty balanced and solid, man. Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert isn't going to come in and swoop and take his job. Zach Ertz is still Zach Ertz. Didn't look like you reached too much on it. Odell Beckham's supposed to be having a comeback season, but I kind of believe that he will. I believe that he's more focused on football. He's accepting that he's in Cleveland, the first year under, new head coach, new quarterback. It takes some time to adjustment. So I feel like he's back to Odell Beckham with the blonde hair where you got the Joker, glove on and everything like that. He's going to be turning up. So I definitely like that you were able to get him as your wide receiver 3. Now I want to jump back to James Conner. James Conner is going back into that future role where he's not getting the full workload, which will cause him to get injured. That I like, but I don't know how much of James Conner we're going to get. I don't know if we're going to get James Conner when Le'Veon Bell was holding out. I don't know if we're going to get James Conner healthy. That's the problem, with owning James Conner. I really would have liked if you were able to get like a Derrick Henry, maybe Joe Mixon mixture, or a Derrick Henry, Miles Sanders maybe. But I really feel like you have an overall balanced team when it comes to being a contender. Now, the rest of these teams I'm looking at, they have a lot of holes in their teams. And, I want to honorably mention, where is he at? Andrew. Andrew's team. He was very close to taking Trey's spot, my three favorite teams. But the only thing that, what kept Andrew out of that little third is that he had a lot of holes. Melvin Gordon is going to be splitting heavy with Philip Lindsay. You know what I mean? Evan Ingram, can he stay healthy? Adam Thielen also, he's getting banged up. He's getting beat up. Justin Jefferson coming out there. You know what I mean? And I feel like his bench, Edelman, I'm not a true big fan of it. Mike Gesicki, I'm not a real fan of it. The only thing that you benefit on your bench right now is basically JT, who's going to turn up at the end of the season. Mostert, very crowded backfield. We don't even know what the hell's going to be going on, week to week. It may be a game script. It may be like a patch backfield. I just don't want no parts of it with a Jerick McKinnon, Tevin Coleman healthy now, and then Raheem Mostert. It just doesn't give me a full sense as a starting. But again, he's on your bench, so you not saying you did anything bad. Your team is solid as well too. You were right there at my third favorite team, but you just have a lot of holes where I didn't really agree to if there was enough plug and play. I do like you got Josh Allen and behind Dak Prescott just in case anything happens. God forbid with the holdout and all that other stuff. But it seems like Dak is full send and go. I like that you got CEH, but again, it's just too many holes in a lot of spots where I feel like you could have improved in. I feel like you went more of a wide receiver heavy. Yeah, you didn't. No, not really, actually. You basically went balanced. Kenny, Tyreek Hill, Adam Thielen, and then Julian Edelman. Yeah, pretty balanced. You went 4-4 with the running backs and wide receivers. Not bad, not terrible. It's just that I'm not a big fan of some of the players you picked. Now, moving on. I'm going to move on to guys that I didn't really agree with their draft in 10 man. I mean, you could have ended up better. Now, I'm going to start with, what's his name? Ricky the Leg. Yeah, Ricky the Leg. Man, oh, man, oh, man. These holes, man. I got to guess. You have to be an Eagles fan. You have to be an Eagles fan. So, Rieger is hurt. Wentz is hurt. So, exit that out. Bell is on the verge of being released. You got CMC. Congrats. You probably had the first pick. Ruggs, we don't know yet. That's another rookie. You got Kelsey. We know what Kelsey gives us. Saints defense, I really don't need to go into defenses, but Noah Fant, I like Noah Fant, full send there. But then you went and got Darrell Henderson, who's also hurt with a hamstring injury right now. And you got to understand, that's a messy backfield. I wouldn't even have wasted a pick on Henderson because we know they drafted high on Cam Akers. They traded up to get Cam Akers, and that was their first pick in the second round to get Cam Akers. And then Malcolm Brown was re-signed for 2 years, and Malcolm Brown is still there. And then you got Henderson that they drafted, 2 years ago now. So it's it's a little bit of a messy situation there, and I kind of don't want any parts of it. I like that you got Christian Kirk, big hopes for Christian Kirk to be fantasy relevant, but we will have to wait and see. Larry Fitz is still there. D-Hop is going to be demanding that double coverage. So maybe Christian Kirk maybe does come in and get, 8 points like he's projected, a week. But I'm not too sold on that, being that, you got Ruggs as a flex, and then you got Rieger, who's hurt right now, who they say is okay. But I honestly, the wide receivers is what's hurting you right now because all you got relevant right now is Calvin Ridley, who's a number 2 to a Julio Jones. He's still finding a way to be relevant. He's still finding a way to put up touchdowns and find the yards, but you're lacking right now. You could definitely make some trades right now. Honestly, you're not sitting terrible. And, James White is cool. You got him, but now you don't have a backup to an already quarterback that's hurt. So, Ricky, what you doing, man? Wentz is broken. He's hurting. You know what I mean? So you're gonna have to hit waivers. Probably some good, quarterbacks are available, but I didn't like that you had the first pick. You have to have the first pick to get CMC, right? Just saying. I don't know how these 10 teams work, but whatever. Now next I gotta go to what other team was it? Galvin. That's who it was. Oof, man. So I started looking at his team. Watson gives me, some type of questions, being that he lost D-Hop. It's always the question, did D-Hop make Watson good or did Watson make D-Hop good? I don't know. It will be 60-40 for me, and I'm not going to say which way, but I feel like Watson does have some question marks. His wide receiver core is not the best right now. Downgraded, if anything. Brandon Cooks, he's the sleeper. I feel like he could be good. Oh, excuse me. I feel like he could be good. I feel like he's definitely the sleeper, but Will Fuller can't stay healthy. Randall Cobb, he's very seasoned, I'll say that, but he could come in and be productive in the slot. Kiki QT hasn't, been healthy ever. So we've been waiting for him to explode, but we haven't saw it. So Watson just gives me a lot of questions, man. A lot of questions about health, about if he's going to be available, because he gets banged up as well. He takes a lot of hits as well, but Watson, I feel like he could do you justice if, he stays healthy and the rest of his fucking team stays healthy. Now, Josh Jacobs, I like Josh Jacobs a lot, but Nick Chubb, I'm not a huge fan of Nick Chubb, and I feel like we're going to be very disappointed because I own Nick Chubb in 2 of my leagues. 2 out of 9 of my leagues I'm in. I own Nick Chubb, and then I drafted before this, Kareem Hunt, hype came. So it's like I feel like they're going to do an even split, and it's going to be very upsetting to where we see Kareem Hunt in the red zone a lot because Nick Chubb was probably the worst goal line back last season like we ever seen, and I think that's where Kareem Hunt is going to find himself to be relevant because he can also catch, so PPR value there, and then he's going to be seeing the red zone, and he's going to be seeing the end zone, so therefore it's going to be swaying more towards Kareem Hunt than Nick Chubb. So that I'm not a huge fan of. Now, again, your team is not terrible, but then you went and got D-Hop. I like D-Hop, but again, first year, new quarterback. We've seen it happen with Odell Beckham. Not too sure if that chemistry's there with COVID, the training camp, etc. A lot of things are in the way for D-Hop to be, D-Hop, what he was in Houston. Keenan Allen, Tyrod Taylor worries me, but I know Keenan Allen's going to get fed, so there's nothing really too damaging there with Keenan Allen. So Tyler Higbee, I don't know if you're a subscriber. You should be a subscriber now. But how I feel about Tyler Higbee, I'm a diehard Rams fan, but I feel like Tyler Higbee is going way too high, being overhyped, and it's going to be very disappointing when Tyler Higbee doesn't give you those week-to-week points where he gets game scripted out. You got Gerald Everett in the way. Basically, that's what's going to happen. You know what I mean? And I feel like you following up with Gronk. Gronk is going to be very touchdown dependent. Gronk is a whole year older and removed from football, been drinking beer, partying, doing WWE. I don't really think Gronk is in football shape. He'll be very touchdown dependent. And again, I don't think Brady's going to target him outside the red zone over a Chris Godwin or a Mike Evans. You know what I mean? So I feel like O.J. Howard is still there. He could find himself a revamped career. They could have traded him, but they didn't. So I feel like O.J. Howard can be the Aaron Hernandez to Gronk, RIP in the gulag, my dude. But anyway, I feel like that Gronk is going to be very touchdown dependent. I think you're going to be heartbroken that you're not going to see Gronk of what Gronk we know that was in New England, and Tyler Higbee is going to be game shifted out with Gerald Everett. So there's that. Now you're basically your bench. It's a little, you know what I mean. Robbie Anderson, not a huge fan. Emmanuel Sanders is very seasoned, very old, but we all know Michael Thomas is going to get all those touches. And apparently Traquan Smith is getting some type of hype from Drew Brees, so it's not looking too good, not too great for Emmanuel Sanders. Rashad Perriman's dealing with injury right now, swollen knee that's keeping him from practice, so he's looking like he's banged up before the season even starts. Matt Breida's basically going to be sharing with Jordan Howard, so there's nothing really too crazy there, to expect from him week to week. So again, let's say Nick Chubb gets injured, God forbid, or Josh Jacobs, God forbid, then you got to go look for your bench. You're going to put in Matt Breida, not feeling it. You know what I mean? You really don't have any running back help. That's where you're really lacking at. Now to my next team that I wasn't feeling too much. Colin, man, oh man. Chris Carson, DeAndre Swift as your running back 1 and 2. That I am not a huge fan of. Chris Carson saying he's healthy now, which we know that could be, altered to where that's not 100%. He's just saying that to get back to practice. A lot of these players, practice hurt, and then it ends up being worse. Chris Carson also has Carlos Hyde in front of him, where Carlos Hyde has been known to pest. He's going to find those ugly 4 yards. He's going to find a way to get 1,000 yards. You know what I mean? So he's just in the way of Chris Carson. We're basically going to see Carlos Hyde and Chris Carson become what we thought Chris Carson and Rashad Penny were. But again, it never happened, but whatever. Now, your wide receivers, man. Cortland Sutton, I still believe and I still like him. Jerry Jeudy is heating up in camp. He's getting the hype. He's getting too much hype, actually, then comparing him to Randy Moss. But I feel like Jerry Jeudy is going to become the help for Cortland Sutton. So I think in that situation, I think Jerry Jeudy benefits more, you know what I mean, of getting the looks, because Cortland Sutton did his damn thing. Nobody's going to ignore that. They've seen the film on him already. So they're definitely going to see that he was very productive. So he might get the best, corner that week. So I think Jerry Jeudy definitely benefits from that. Juju Smith-Schuster, he has Big Ben coming back, but I've been hearing that he's been struggling during camp, which is not really, heartwarming to hear right now. We're about 9 days away from, the season. He's struggling right now. I don't know if it's injury. I don't know if it's mental errors. I'm not sure what it is. Now, Mark Andrews, I do like that you got Mark Andrews as my boy. Got him in the 12th round last year. Definitely a hot steal. So hopefully another tight end jumps out and, basically becomes the Mark Andrews of the 2020 season. But Deontay Johnson, not too sure why you took two wide receivers on the same team. That's kind of what's alarming to me, where you kind of just blew the draft in a 10-man league with, a rookie and then Chris Carson being your, a rookie and DeAndre Swift is what I'm saying. And then Chris Carson, who has Carlos Hyde in front of him, where Chris Carson is reported healthy now, which we don't know how much we can take that into consideration. Might be saying he's back to 100% just to get back to practice, not lose his job to Carlos fucking Hyde. And DeAndre Swift is going to have a delay in starting because he has Kieran Johnson there healthy. So there's that. And I can't really see much of your bench, really helping you out week to week, other than if Cam Akers pops off immediately, you could swap him out for Swift, being that Kieran Johnson's there. Tyler Boyd, I would definitely start, over one of these, Steelers wide receivers you got in there. Maybe most likely it'd be, Deontay Johnson. Kyler Murray, I like, big fan. Allen Robinson scares me right now. I feel like it doesn't matter who's at quarterback, he's going to be productive, but I hope it's not Nick Foles. Let's just say that. I hope it's terrible Trubisky, and Trubisky just has Allen Robinson with the chemistry as his security blanket, and Robinson can keep on chugging to that top 10. And I definitely am a big fan of Johnny Smith, but it's going to take some time for him to actually get the train rolling. So I do like your tight end. Let's put it like that. I do like your tight end. I love your quarterback, Russell Wilson, definitely a guy that I'm a believer that you need to take every single fucking year. But overall, man, your team is very lacking. You're going to be struggling. I don't think you're going to make playoffs, to be bluntly honest, Colin. But you could swing some trades, honestly. I mean, you can swing some trades to bring in some running back help, immediately, because right now you're looking at, you got nothing. So that was my evaluation of the league. Any of the other, four that were not mentioned, your teams are very balanced. I couldn't find anything, great to say about them or anything bad to say about them. Your teams are very balanced. Got good bench help. You got great starters, great QBs, great running backs. You just all around balance. I couldn't find anything that I really could say anything bad, like Spencer, Drew Brees, Aaron Jones, Todd Gurley, and Michael Thomas and Julio Jones. Wow. That is some lineup there, you know what I mean? But again, I couldn't find anything like that would take you to the next level to say, you got a great team. Kenneth, I've seen your team too, a great team, you know what I mean? But it wasn't anything that I can take it to the next level to say great things about. But I definitely got those three that I said in the beginning. They're definitely going to be making waves, man. I definitely think if I had to pick out of the three, I would probably have to say Captain Chark will probably be my favorite. And then second favorite, Trey, and then Cameron. But I feel like all three of you guys are very good contenders. Those are my favorite teams for this 10-man league. And I want to thank you guys for watching. And hopefully I did my job and I, satisfy you guys with this team breakdown. Sorry for the technical difficulties, with internet, and I'm trying to record this and it's, failing at the moment. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. And I'll see you guys next week for another great episode of Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Peace.